What's happening, guys? Coach O'Neal here, Officer Coordinator at Slago High School, back at you again. It's been a long week. I know I haven't posted. I normally post 2 videos a week, or at least that's what I was doing. But kind of been busy doing other things, preparing for a. I'm actually preparing for a Black History play tonight, so that kind of been taking up most of my time, along with doing other things. That's pretty much for the football program, little documentation, organization types deals. But for the most part, like I said, I wanted to get this video out, especially before the week 3 of XFL hit. I kind of been having this stuff jotted down on my clipboard, and I just wanted to put it out here for you guys, and we'll just go from there. You don't want to leave you guys no quality content. So for starters, this play right here, this formation in this play, to be honest with you guys, I actually have this formation in my playbook. I feel like it's a lot of things you can do out of this formation right here, especially with moving guys around, moving your receivers around, especially with your backside tight end to the backside. Normally, in high school, I want to say, and I could be wrong, but around the guys that I've been around, a lot of coaches that I've talked to and been around and learned from, generally you normally have your your tight end on. He's to the strength call of the formation. So I think this right here kind of will kind of trip out a lot of defensive coordinators, just because they'll end up tendency calling the strength to the tight end side, but the strength of the formation is to
Students, you have 30 seconds
to the right
to make it to class. Again, you have 30 seconds to make it to class.
So anyway, like I said, this formation I think will be a great formation to run in high school, especially for you guys who like to run the jet sweep, who like to have a lot of misdirections and motions and shifts. This is a great formation to use. Like I said, just because you have a backside tight end, normally you don't see that on the high school level. Normally the tight end's to the play side, so this is something that I like. So the play that I have here, you can classify this as a concept from the Smash. I watched I want to say it was the DC Defenders. That's who it was. So this play was actually from the DC Defenders. This was one of the plays that they scored on. The first touchdown they scored in that game last week. This was that formation. This was that play. So what they basically did, let me find my marker. Basically what they're doing here, if you can see, and this is actually how they did align their personnel on the field that game. So you obviously had a cornerback, and you had your play side rover safety to the field. They had the rover roll down. He was somewhat on the same depth as the cornerback, probably a few yards higher, but this is somewhat how it looked. And then for some apparent reason, I don't know why. Well, I kind of know why, just because you have 3 receivers to the side with a tight end. But what they did was they brought that cornerback from the backside and placed him on that number 3 receiver with that backside tight end. So here with the backside tight end, they had a backer. Obviously, it was somewhat, if you can say, it was somewhat of a 4-4 look. But this wasn't a nickel back. This was actually their backside corner. So what they did was, and a lot of guys, I was actually talking to some kids now. I was drawing this up, and they was thinking that just off this concept, either we was reading this guy, which is quite funny. I was like, no, because actually, what they were doing, they was reading this guy. So this, if you want to call it, it's not a pick play, it's not a rub play or anything like that, but it's one of those concepts that your defensive guys, your defensive backs have to have their eyes in the right place, all right? Because if their eyes get lost, they can have a tendency of losing their guy. So for example, I'm going to draw. This is how it was drawn up. I have some. I'm not going to say I have variations, but I did have a variation play that I'm going to draw up here. That's the same deal as this that I actually did like. So anyway. What they did was, so obviously here with this cornerback, he's running a snag route. He's not running a slant, so he's going to run it. You can have him run a 3 or 4 step snag. Runs under. You want him to run right underneath this guy, all right? Because obviously we're fighting to get over top of that rover right there. But we want him to sit right here in hopes that either the corner maybe, and this is what may happen. So obviously when they ran this, they was playing man. So this is obviously a great man beater, and they ran it in the red zone. That's how they scored. So, like I said, when they ran this concept, that corner ran with that guy right here, all right? This corner ran with that guy, so it opened up that window, came on a blitz. So it was a perfect call by the offensive coordinator to call that, to keep max protection here and give your quarterback time to read this side of the field. So obviously, we're not worrying about the safety because he's outside of the play. We're trying to get to that backside pylon and score. But this was a great play that they did, and they scored off of. Now, another play that they did later in the game, and they almost scored, but the guy dropped the ball. Only thing they did was, and this was actually a pick play, all right, guys. So they actually ran a pick play here, and it was pretty good. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, if I felt like if I had the guys, I would probably run this. But in essence, though, it was a great play. So what they did here for an alternate, They brought the cornerback on this time. The defense brought the cornerback to the backside. All right. So the cornerback was to the backside and they moved the backer here. All right. So you had a backer on a number 3 receiver. All right. Go to class. Yeah. You had a backer on the number 3 receiver here. All right. And what ended up happening, these guys here. So this guy, the H receiver, the number 3, he actually ran underneath the wide receiver. So what he did, this wide receiver, and I want to say it was kind of an option route. All right. So you had something like this, but I'll say you'll just have to put it in that fashion here. So what happened was either this guy would run the slant, depending on, and when I was watching the game, it looked like from essence, that receiver was watching that inside backer. So if that inside backer moved or anything, I mean, you had a bubble right here to throw that slant route. But if he just sat there in the zone or anything in that fashion, then you still have a window here. So end up what they're doing from there, this number 3 receiver, this number 3 right here, he ran underneath that that option route. Just call it option. He ran underneath the option route, and he ran the corner. All right. He ran the corner. You still have the snag with the Z receiver outside. But what they was trying to do, because if they was playing man, they was trying to tangle these guys up. Right. So obviously, and I've seen this before, if you ever had crossing routes or mixed routes, mixed concepts where the receivers cross, like I said, if your DB's eyes are not in the right place, man, they can lose the guy. So what happened here, like I said, this guy opened his hip to the sideline. His safety was just sitting there. And what ended up going on, these guys actually collided into each other. So they actually ran into each other. Well, they didn't run into each other, but this guy ran over top. All right. So he ran over top with that route right there, which gave him an opportunity to get underneath, and he was lost in the color. All right, so that linebacker got lost in the clutter, and he was wide open in the back of the end zone. He's just dropped the ball. All right, he just dropped the ball. And still with that concept there, you still have your number 1 to 2 to 3 option. And obviously here, say you have a situation on a high school level where maybe you're getting some serious pressure from your line and you don't want your quarterback sitting in the pocket. Well, I feel like if you want, you can easily put your quarterback out into a rollout or a boot out action. And get him to the grass, which is forcing these guys to make different movements and actually show true concepts. So, and my number 1 thing is, if you have a mobile quarterback and he can run the ball, use him as an option here, because that puts a real bind on these guys. All right. So if he can run that damn football, man, I would put him as a number 3. Let him know, hey, once you sprint out the pocket, look for your reads, go through your reads. But if nothing there, tuck the ball and get what you can. Because obviously, if nothing there, those guys are covered, which is giving you grass through the space that you have. All right. So that is something here. Now, backside, what they did with this tight end, and actually what they did, they ran a corner route. Now, I don't think that he was a primary read, but I think they actually ran that corner out just because the last time they ran this, that linebacker blitzed off that edge. And this time they switched those guys and put the cornerback backside. So now when they ran that route, the cornerback bailed and the safety kind of sat there just to make sure that he didn't get beat over top. So that was the concept that they ran. Like I said, the DC defenders ran, that I think is a real great concept to use. It's that, especially both of these concepts. This rub concept here, I personally would run it for a two-point conversion, because you would not. I don't think guys would expect that. And honestly, I want to say last year in the playoffs we played. Well, no, not even the playoffs. The game before the playoffs, we played against a team, and they ran something similar to that. All right, it's like the kid. I was watching film. The kid didn't even run a route. I mean, he tried to run a corner route, but he just got to the back pylon. But he was wide open, guys. Like our guy's eyes got lost, and he was just wide open in the back of the end zone for an easy touchdown. So that's why I think this is an excellent play to run. Now, another concept or another play, and this is for I watched this against. I forgot who ran this play, guys. I want to say it wasn't Houston. It probably was Houston Red, the Roughnecks. So, and when I saw this, man, this brought me back to my first year as a high school coach a few years ago, or many years ago, almost. I'm getting old, but it brought me back to something that. I remember a coach, he was a slot T guy, slot T, wing T type of guy. And like I said, he introduced me to this play my first year as an assistant coach, as an assistant offensive coach. And basically, it's just an easy combo. If you're a speed option guy, if you like to run speed options so much, this is something they can use in the passing game that can actually help you out and put the defense in a bind. So basically what you have here, you have your running back. He's running a swing route. And the swing route, you can have it look like a speed option, but that swing route will still help you out here. Your quarterback, you want to tell him not to run to the line of scrimmage, but run kind of parallel to the line of scrimmage to make it look like it's an actual speed option. You have your H-back, he's blocking most dangerous guy off the edge. Obviously, in our offense, we're full sliding, so full slide guy here. Backside X receiver, you can have him run anything. He's not really the primary read here, so you can have him run a slant, a drag. Me personally, honestly, I would have him run a drag in this scenario, and the reason why I would have him run a drag, and you can have him run a deep drag. But the reason why I would have him run a drag just because we're pushing everything to the side of the field. And the concept that we're running here, if we run it correctly, if those two guys are not open, you can have this guy backside. Like I said, this is a great play. We actually ran this play my first year as a coach against a team, and it worked to perfection. The wide receiver was just wide open, guys, and we scored. So basically what happened here, and it's still off the snag concept. So you have to place the flanker receiver, he's going to run a snag. Obviously, we want him to at least line up right over where that split receiver is. The split receiver is going to basically run a wheel. All right. So what should happen here, and it's a few things that should happen. So obviously, versus, and this is good versus man. I mean, it's pretty much is possibly good versus zone too, just because the DB's eyes will be in the backfield of the quarterback because they're playing in their zone. But this is good versus either way because it's just a little trickery play. So anyway, this backer here, we're trying to sit underneath that backer. We want this guy to go underneath that snag route. And what we're hoping to see is this cornerback run inside with that snag, giving grass here. And as we're running the speed option, we're hoping to see that this backer's eyes is to the quarterback. Because if he sees speed option, I'm pretty sure he sees, if he's taught, if you see run, go get the ball. So as soon as he sees run, we're expecting him to attack it right now, which gives you a wide open guy upfield. All right. So obviously safety is going to be sitting here. If he sees that drag, he's not that drag. This is why I said I'd rather run a drag versus this, just because by him running a deep drag across field, that's going to make that safety honor that. He's going to have to sit and hope that doesn't cross his face. But that gives you grass right here because this cornerback, he removes himself from the field that he needs to cover. So that's just one great play, man, that I seen that the guys ran this past weekend, and it just brought me back to memory lane of my first year coaching high school football, and the coach introduced me to that play. All right, so the last play that I'm going to go over, and this is just something that, shout out to Coach Rave, who's my special team coach in college. We're going to give some special teams some love right now. So, and this is something that who ran this? The New York Guardians ran this play off their special team, and it was a great play call. So what you have here, you have a punt formation. So the guys was in the punt scenario. And what they did was, and I'm just going to be quick with this because this is the last one, and it doesn't need any. We need to draw everything up. All right. So what they did was you had your guy here, you had your punter. Again, I just put F right here. So what happened, pretty much you can call it a stretch play. All right. So they're trying to get outside edge. And how they did this was they brought this wide receiver who should have been outside with a cornerback. They squeezed him inside, which forced this cornerback to tighten his alignment towards the formation. So once he did that, this is what they did. So obviously when they direct snap to the back, the punter went opposite of the ball. These guys were just blocking gaps. All right. So they were just blocking whoever takes their gap backside, they pick them up. And no really key assignment because everything's running the opposite way. So we direct snap to the running back. And what happened here, this wide receiver, he cracks that backer. Or really, he cracks, because it's a backer here. I'm trying to remember how they did it. But he cracks that backer that's there and kind of seals this edge off, all right? This H-back comes outside. He arcs outside. He takes the corner. And now you have a guy clean edge with no one there to pick him up right off the edge, all right? I'm talking about he was just – and when they ran this play, guys, he was literally no one under. He got the first down, and it was man, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I have to put that play out there. And like I said, backside, your H receiver just blocking. They're just doing regular punt protection backside, but play side, just a little trickery here. And it's a real simple play. Like I said, it's a simple play. It's something that you can easily draw up and doesn't take too much teaching, but it was very effective because just by moving that wide receiver inside, that forced that corner to come in to tighten his split down, which gave us the grass, which gave them the grass and gave them an opportunity to basically get a first down. So, like I said, guys, this was just three concepts that I saw over the past weekend watching XFL that I really liked, and I felt like these three concepts would be great for high school, especially that speed option pass, man. When I was introduced to that, man, I fell in love with that play. But anyway, if you guys ever want to talk ball, like always, if you ever want to talk ball, hit me up on Twitter, Coach0223. I'm always willing to talk about football is everything, football is life, as they say. If you want to be a part of the show, contact me there. Also, if you guys haven't seen the last video I made about the play calling sheet and Coach Alexander's software for creating a play call sheet, check that out. I also have the promotion information down in the description below. You can use my promo code to actually get that software if you want to purchase it. I think it was a great software to use for high school guys, maybe even college guys if you don't have anything to use. But I think it's a real good software to use because it's real simple, it's easy, and you can just tweak some things. But I mostly like it just because I can input all my plays that I have in my playbook, from the variations to just the base things, and it's all there, and I can easily move it without any issues. And the most important thing that I like about it is the fact that you can take that information from that playbook and it goes directly to a wristband. So I think that is something that you guys should check out. Like I said, if you like that software, use my promo down in the description below to save you a few coins. Get it, man. Contact Coach Alexander he's on Twitter at Coach Time Savers. I believe Coach Time Savers. That's exactly what it is. Coach Alexander, that is his name. He's the creator of that software. If you have any questions, you can watch the video. Like I said, there's the preview video I put on here, and I put it on last week, if I'm not mistaken. But check that out. Like I said, I think it's a great thing to use. And other than that, guys, you guys have a great day. If nobody ever told you, you're awesome. Keep being awesome. Coach O'Neal out.